Let's continue this discussion with William Lee. He is the chief economist at the Milken Institute and former managing director and head of North America economics for Citigroup. William, thanks for being with us, sir.
Thanks for having me.
My first question to you, just straight out of the gate, did the federal government miss the warning signs on this one?
Well, the Silicon Valley Bank was regulated by the California State Banking Commission. So I would say for that particular bank, California regulators really missed it. The holding company, which owns all of the Silicon Valley properties, including the ones in the UK, is administered by the Federal Reserve. And the Federal Reserve examiners in San Francisco also missed it, because what we have here is a classic case of bad risk management on the part of the executives of Silicon Valley Bank. They did some things that would have failed people in Banking 101 in terms of managing their assets and liabilities and trying to match their deposits with maturities with their assets. So those are the faults that we really missed out on. But in terms of the banking system, I think the president and Janet Yellen and everyone else is perfectly right to say the banking system as a whole is very sound, because the mega banks, the systemically important banks, are tested all the time and they are considered safe. What's also true, though, is that some banks are in danger, and the market's going to be testing which are the banks in danger in the coming days.
And William, I think many folks remember the controversy surrounding the steps taken to shore up big banks during the 2008 financial crisis. I'm sure you read that joint statement last night from the Federal Reserve and FDIC saying depositors will have access to all their money starting today. But I think a lot of us, read that and said, okay, but where will that money come from? Will Americans be on the hook to bail out these banks in this case?
Absolutely not. In fact, as I said, these are bank runs that are induced by bad bank management. And so the people responsible for that would be the shareholders and bondholders of these banks. And they deservedly, because they didn't have the kind of oversight over these executives, should be losing their money. But American taxpayers certainly are not on the hook for this. And President Biden and Secretary Yellen are making sure that the money will be coming out of the shareholders and people responsible for the behavior of these bank executives.
The other thing I wanted to take your temperature on, a lot of people talking about this, do you expect the failure of these two banks will have a contagion effect that could spread to other banks? Will people start taking their money out of their regional banks, to give it elsewhere? Your response?
Marky, that's exactly the right question to ask, because you see that the markets right now are in a state of panic. They're trying to ask themselves, where's the next domino to fall? This is a 21st century example of that old movie, It's a Wonderful Life, where the Jimmy Stewart Bank failed because people started panicking and everyone wanted to withdraw money at the same time. We had some really irresponsible tweets made by a lot of, I think, bank speculators wanting to crash some of these banks. And these tweets are causing people to panic, especially people with very large deposits that are not insured by the FDIC. And that kind of hot money in the Silicon Valley world is really part of that contagion. And now we're asking what other regions have these kind of vulnerabilities.
Yeah, people and companies with way more than $250,000 in the bank. William Lee, thanks so much for joining us this morning, sir.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.